Hello and welcome to my channel. Welcome to another tarot reading from me. So today's topic is going to be, as I have promised, on predictions for September 2025. And yes, I apologize for the break from my channel, but I've really had, again, a lot on my plate. So here it is. I have a lot of ideas for future readings, so I hope that you will be understanding and that you will join me with my next topics of readings, because I have a lot in store. Anyway, those of you who are from Europe, I wonder how many of you are going to recognize this candle, because I bought it from a pretty popular chain of stores. Anyway, just curious. And I actually had this whole internal debate about whether I should take out the autumn theme, candles already and other things that I have, because technically September, well, in a way, yeah, it is the first month of autumn, but autumn technically only starts on around the 20th of September. So I think of October as the full autumn experience. So anyway, though, here it is. Still, technically, September is the first month of autumn, so I think it's fair, right? It's not out of place to take out the pumpkin. It's also pumpkin spice flavored, by the way, candle. Anyway, so as usual, these are your options for those of you who want to choose with just crystals. And I want to mention that I have spent some time to meditate on which crystals I should choose for this particular topic. And these are the crystals that came out in this particular order. Actually, in this case, it's actually little bottles of crystals. So that I have made myself. Well, not made them from scratch, but you know what I mean. I bought the bottles and the crystals separately. So anyway, these are your options. Pile number 1, you have this citrine crystal bottle. Okay. Pile number 2, you have this aventurine crystal bottle. It's not focusing. So annoying. Oh, okay. So pile number 2, this is the green aventurine bottle. Pile number 3, actually it's cozier like this with this lighting. Pile number 3, you have this black onyx bottle. It's still hard for it to focus. All right. So pile number 3, okay. Once again, these are your options. Pile number 1, citrine. Number 2, green aventurine. Number 3, black onyx. And my recommendation, as usual, is that you take some moments to meditate upon the question. You can also meditate on more specific questions that you would like answer for, but try to connect them somehow to predictions for September or for the next 30 days. And yeah, keep some, take some time to meditate upon the question. Keep your eyes closed. Exhale longer than you inhale. That will help center you and calm you down. And then open your eyes and choose the first pile that stands out to you intuitively without overthinking it. And if you feel drawn to more than one, feel free to watch several or even all of them and just take whichever messages resonate. Before I sign off, of course, I will remind you to please subscribe to my channel if you have found value in any of my readings. It's the easiest way to support me, and it is free. And once you have subscribed, also consider clicking the notifications bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you at your pile. Hello, so this is for those of you who want to choose with a card as well as a crystal. This is going to be the selection phase for the card connected to each crystal. If you don't want to sit through this, of course, you can fast forward, or of course you can, you can fast forward directly to the choose your pile option. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1, the people who chose the citrine crystal bottle. What is September 2025 going to bring for pile number 1? Spirit, tell me about pile number 2, the green. Yeah, this one feels right. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3, the black onyx. What will September 2025 bring for them? Let's see. Pile number 1, we have a Samhain Sending, number 28. I love these cards. And again, I was like, should I pull out the witch cards already? Technically, it's not the season of the witch yet, but it's getting closer. We're getting there. Pile number 2, we have the next journey beckons with number 10. Okay, pile number 3, we have She Is 1000 Flowers, number 44. Okay, let me zoom in. Okay, so this is for those of you who want to choose with a card as well as a crystal. Pile number 1, you have this citrine bottle of crystals and or this card over here. Wait, let me bring it closer. So pile number 1, these are your crystals, citrine. Pile number 2, you have this card over here and or this green aventurine bottle. Pile number 3, you have this card over here and or this black onyx crystal bottle. Okay, so these are your options. Pile number 1, number 2, number 3. As usual, my recommendation is that you take some moments to meditate upon the question. You can also ask some questions that might be answered through predictions for September 2025, or ask more specific questions that you would like answers to, but try to keep it somehow connected to September 2025, or ask about what's going to happen in the next 30 days about a particular issue. And again, my recommendation is that you take some moments to meditate with your eyes closed. Exhale longer than you inhale. That will help center you and calm you down. And once you have taken 10 deep breaths, you can open your eyes and choose the first pile that stands out to you intuitively without overthinking it. And yeah, you can also address the question to a higher power like God, Spirit, whoever you believe in. And yeah. If you feel drawn to more than one, feel free to watch several or even all of them and just take whichever messages resonate. I will see you at your reading, and also I will remind you to please subscribe to my channel if you have found value in any of my readings up until this point. It is the easiest way to support me and it is free. Also consider clicking on the notifications bell to see when I will upload a new tarot reading. Thank you, and I will see you at your pile. So, welcome pile number 1. This is your reading if you have chosen this crystal, over here, this bottle of citrine crystals, and or this card, number 28, that says a Samhain Sending. This is going to be the card selection phase, so if you don't want to sit through it, I'm going to add timestamps so you can skip directly to the interpretation. Alright, so let me start with the tarot cards. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1, the people who chose the citrine bottle of crystals. What will September 2025 have in store for them? Spirit, tell me about pile number 1. What will September 2025 have in store for them? These two wanted to come out together. Whoa. Okay. King of Swords and Queen of Swords. There is a lot of stuff going on. Pile number 1. Page of Pentacles, the Fool, the Justice. Wow, 10 of Swords came out twice, y'all. Oh man, this is intense. So, okay, these are the tarot cards. I'm going to pull some oracle cards now. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1. What advice do you have for pile number 1 for September 2025? What advice do you have for people who chose the citrine? This one. Spirit, what advice do you have for pile number 1? The people who chose the citrine cluster. Sorry, not cluster, but you know what I mean. The citrine bottle. Spirit, what advice do you have for pile number 1? The people who chose the citrine bottle. So let's see. We have perfectionism. Permission to make mistakes is so freeing. It's the root of creativity and change. Allow me, divine, to make as many mistakes as I need. Free me from the prison of perfectionism. And Cougar, assertive. In silence, you find power. Claim your leadership role and take action. You know where to go and what to do. You have the courage and confidence to succeed. Okay. And then we have 54, Amethyst, masculine, 6th chakra, earth. I'm going to read the description for this from the booklet. Let me see. I am Amethyst. I am the healer stone. I energize stones, crystals, and people by attracting positive forces while repelling and removing negative energies. I am here to tell you to take charge of your own thoughts, follow visions, be who you are, walk your talk. I am the stone of the higher self, new spiritual awakenings, the unlimited power of knowledge through inner journeys and intuitive perceptions. You need to see beyond and look for the best, not the most practical. I am grounding and stabilization that soothes emotions. I am purification. Intense. And notice, I was actually just going to say this as I was pulling out the cards, because you have the 10 of Swords here and the Fool underneath, and literally, and also the Tower here. And literally my first thought was, this is a new beginning. This is a massive new beginning. And then you also have this card, which has the number 54 on it. In numerology, that boils down to a 9. And the 9 is the ending of a cycle, right? So already I have multiple messages, intuitive messages that point in the direction that you are ending some kind of significant cycle here. And then there's 2 cards over here that basically tell you to trust your own intuition. You have this one that says, in silence you find power, claim your leadership role and take action. You know where to go and what to do. You have the courage and confidence to succeed. And this other card was saying something similar about deep down, basically you have to follow your intuition, right? Don't go for the most practical, go for what feels right. It said something along those lines. And now you also have number 28 over here, which boils down to a number 1. So the number 1 is the beginning of a cycle. The number 9 is an ending of a cycle. So I could see that as a symmetry here for the 10 of Swords and the Fool here. Showing up one underneath the other. Again, a strong beginning. But you are probably somewhere in that middle part right now where you're currently ending some significant cycle and probably haven't gotten, fully into the new beginning, but it's probably going to happen in September. Samhain sending here. Yeah, which also number 28 boils down to number 1, which is ruled by the sun in numerology, and you have the citrine, which is actually connected to the sun. There could be a connection there. So, going back to the 10 of Swords came out twice. Okay, actually, let me start with the beginning. wow, you have so much fire here. So, most of you, okay, not most of you, I couldn't say exactly, but people who have chosen this pile, actually, you are somewhere on that fence between ending a massive cycle and about to begin a new journey. But it's something very significant, right? Like a change of direction, like I said, an ending of a cycle. Many of you could actually be going through a personal year number 9 in numerology. You can look into how that is calculated, but as far as I remember, the way to calculate it is by adding up the day of birth with your month of birth and then the year 2025. So see if that is actually happening. Could even be the month is, I think you can also calculate a personal month number. So maybe the month of September is a number 9. Either way, all right? Or you could be a year number 1. That would make sense. So last year was a number 9 for you because the cycle repeats in order, right? You have 1 through 9. And usually with the year, personal year number 9, you're ending a big cycle that has lasted for about 10 years. And it's not like you were doing the same thing for 10 years, but there's a progression happening, right? So when you're right around that turn, right, the turn of a decade, it's a significant time in your life when you are, setting the building blocks. You're preparing the path for a new beginning, basically. So see how this resonates. I'm really curious because I'm sure that some of you can resonate. Or of course, you could also be a personal. You could have the number 9 or number 1 strongly placed in your horoscope. Whichever the situation is, with the month of September specifically, okay, so it doesn't have to be with the year 2025, but with the month of September specifically, there is some kind of an ending of a cycle, right? Some kind of a massive change. And on top of that, you have the Queen of Wands in the first position, clarified by the Page of Pentacles and the 8 of Pentacles, which came out together. So this is telling me that around the time when you come across this reading, you are in that Queen of Wands phase, which again is very sun dominant. So someone who's very purposeful, has a lot of drive, has a lot of motivation, kind of a go-getter, right? Knows what she wants, which again goes hand in hand with this cougar energy as well. Let's not also forget that, by the way, if you notice on this cougar thing, there's also kind of a sun figure here. Which is not surprising, because I think this is a thing in the collective subconscious, where people associate cats, felines in general, to the energy of the sun. And Leo, I mean, that's why Leo, which is ruled by the sun, is connected to the lion. Anyway, right, so it's this energy of very much a go-getter energy of being determined, being passionate, kind of finding your direction in life. And I see a lot of this is motivated by professional ambitions, right? So Page of Pentacles and the 8 of Pentacles, this is showing that you are working at your craft. I think for most of you here, the month of September, or should I say up until this point, right? So this is your current state. Up until this point, you have been hard at work, perfecting your skills, maybe working hard on your job, your career, whatever that has been, being motivated to a large extent by money, conventional success, and just being really good at your job. I see something very specific here. So the 8 of Pentacles speaks of skills as opposed to, let's say, business or I don't know, like selling things on Facebook Marketplace, you know what I mean? So 8 of Pentacles would be things like doctor, engineer, not necessarily everything that is conventional, but some kind of specific skills that require repeated energy focus to develop, right? So I see something like that. It could be a profession or it could be a hobby. Whatever it is, you're working on learning something, have been working on learning something, and I see that you have had significant progress in recent history with this. Now we have the 10 of Swords clarified by the Fool in the second position. So the 10 of Swords definitely says that you have hit some kind of, there's no easy way to say this, but you have hit rock bottom at some point, right? This could be in recent history, not necessarily last month or something, right? It could be in recent history, something that is still lingering in your consciousness, right? Something that's still weighing heavily on your shoulders, on your mind, that you have reached some kind of a low, you know, some kind of a low in recent history. Now, this could actually refer to something material, or it could refer to just your emotional state, so and even your physical state. So it could be that maybe your health wasn't great. Maybe you've had a culmination. Usually with the Ten of Swords, it's kind of a card that shows multiple things adding up and kind of weighing on the person, right? So it could be money issues, health issues, relationship issues all together, or it could be one or two of these things. Something significant that has brought things crumbling down for you, basically. But the best part, the silver lining about the Ten of Swords is that it's always darkest before the dawn, which is beautifully illustrated here with the Fool coming out as a clarification for the Ten of Swords. And I'm going to pull another card because I want to see. Hold on. Please clarify the Fool, Spirit. Three of Wands, yeah. So Spirit is definitely telling you whatever your dreams are, okay? It's actually going hand in hand with the Amethyst card description. Whatever your dreams are, go for them wholeheartedly, even if they seem unrealistic. There is a momentum building right now in the month of September where you will have a chance to really make progress in the direction that you want. No matter how insane it may sound, especially with the Page of Pentacles here, I wonder if many of you are thinking of changing a career path. Page of Pentacles, because it's interesting here, or maybe you're trying to jump from one career to another and try to bridge it with what you have already known up until this. But let me give an example. Like maybe, I don't know, you have worked in corporations and you are, let's say, a technical writer, right? But you've taken some courses, so you already have worked in the same corporation, but you've taken some courses and now you want to become a programmer, just to give an example, right? So you're already working in a corporate environment. Maybe you know a few things about what programming entails. So you have some kind of common ground with that profession, but you have to go through specialized training, maybe within that company, right, in order to make that leap from being a technical writer to a programmer. Or maybe you're a doctor and you want to switch specializations, like maybe you were a gynecologist and now you want to be a psychotherapist, just giving a random example, right? So this is the vibe that I'm getting. May not apply to everyone, but this could be for some of you. And of course, it doesn't have to be always high-end, highly educated professions. It could be any kind of profession, right? But with the Three of Wands, this is advice. So advice from Spirit is strike the iron while it's hot, really. Don't hesitate. If the opportunity to do something you want is there, then go for it full speed. Don't hesitate. Don't second guess. And now, here we have the Hermit and the Justice, which makes me think, see, there are a few ways to interpret this. When you have the Justice, it's usually some kind of formal legal matter. And here we have the third position. This is what is standing against you potentially, right? So the opposition that you might have to deal with in the month of September. So a lot of this opposition is coming from it could be literally the legal system, right? So you might have some problem with the law, with I don't know, maybe some of you have been involved in a trial and you have to pay legal fees or something like that. It could be that, or it could just be bureaucracy, right? So for instance, let's say you want to get a job abroad and you keep waiting for them because they have to figure things out bureaucratically, right? I don't know, some papers they have to fill or something they have to sign for you or something like that. So there could be some kind of frustration happening on that level of the legal system. And the Hermit, this is, the Hermit with the Justice underneath. And notice the number 9 on the Hermit. So again, a repeating of that end of cycle. So what I would say, considering the context with the Hermit and the Justice underneath, is that you will be required to get well out of your comfort zone. So one example that I can think about again is, since this is mainly giving me vibes about careers, it could be that, for instance, you want to switch from being someone who's regularly employed to being self-employed, right? So you have to deal with that hassle of figuring out how to do your paperwork, how to file your taxes, right? How are you going to get paid, right? So there's some bureaucratic stuff, okay, that might really annoy you in the month of September, right? But it's growing pains, and it's part of what you need to go through in order to progress, so it's all good. And let me pull another card just because I'm curious. Please clarify the Justice, Spirit. Have the Six of Swords. Yeah, so basically Spirit is just telling you exactly what I said, in the sense that this is progress. This is progress showing up in the form of potential nuisance, potential hassle, and more frustrations and delays in your plans, right? But it's necessary, and the Six of Swords is showing slow and steady progress. You are walking out of, troubled waters into calmer, from troubled waters into calmer waters, basically. And more specifically for some of you, since I got that message about travel, I think for some of you, it is about continuing your journey. So if you're thinking about traveling, relocating, or anything like that, it is definitely an encouragement that you should make that move. And for those of you that this does not refer to a actual physical relocation, this is about making that move that you have been working on, right? Something on your mind, or an opportunity that's going to show up in September with the Three of Wands that's going to require you to take action. We have the King of Swords and the Ten of Swords underneath. So this is the past, which does not surprise me, because again, we have the Ten of Swords here with the King of Swords. Which the Ten of Swords came out already in support. It's difficult for me to explain, but here we have it in the main card, and here we have it as an explanation, all right? So what I'm trying to say is here, what this is showing me is that up until this point, okay, this could be, usually it's recent past, but recent past is a relative term. So this could be a few years ago, this past year, past month, or something like that. So you have reached this Ten of Swords, this burnout situation, right? It could literally be, by the way, for many of you, it could be burnout. So just a time, right, an energy of feeling totally drained, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like there's a lot of stuff on your mind. And then we have the King of Swords, though, holding it together, right? Self-control and being rational. So through this Ten of Swords energy, you have held it together by being hyper-rational, by having self-control, by embodying that King of Swords energy of being very no-nonsense, right? And developed a huge amount of strength and willpower in the process, and also a great amount of trust in your own judgment, which I feel is a very strong theme for you, because it came out twice in here. This is like Spirit telling you, trust your own judgment, trust your intuition, right? You already know what you want, so go after it. And then we have the Queen of Swords clarified by the Tower. So this one looks intense, okay? Queen of Swords, and again, King and Queen of Swords are coming out for you. By the way, I wouldn't be surprised if any of you had placements in Aquarius, maybe Leo as well, or strong Rahu energy, strong Saturn as well. But I would say placements in Aquarius would definitely make sense with the Queen and King of Swords coming out. So the Queen of Swords clarified by the Tower, this means that there is a change, right? So you are gonna have to go through a change. Yes, you're gonna have to. So whether it's kind of like a ready or not, here I come situation, right? And again, I'm gonna pull a clarification because I want to, please clarify the Tower for me, Spirit. Five of Swords. Okay, so Five of Swords speaks of the need. You have so many swords in here, by the way. This is a lot of air energy. So this shows definitely that Spirit is saying the month of September is about thinking clearly, and it's about being rational and trusting your own judgment. It's all about decisions, and it's all about intellect for you in the month of September. And the Five of Swords speaks of planning, okay? Needing to plan, needing to think and to make decisions. And this is how you weather this massive change, because the Tower shows some kind of big change, okay? Now, for those of you for whom the first part really resonated about you wanting to change directions of, maybe you've already taken some steps in that direction, you know, trying to change careers or, you know, learning new skills or something like that. I think you can probably know what to expect, right? So if you've already have taken some steps to change your career, chances are that you have expected some kind of turmoil and some chaos, at least temporarily. For those of you who have not wanted to change anything, let's say, you have not taken any steps towards changing your career, but you have a lot of frustrated ambitions maybe, or a lot of dreams you haven't pursued, etc., etc. I feel like this Tower might potentially show an outside upheaval happening in your life, right? So some kind of unexpected situation that will force you to change, that will force you to question the status quo, basically, and will force you to learn to trust your own judgment. Now, we have the Page of Swords and the Seven of Wands as outcome. And again, Page of Swords is about intellect. It's about trusting your own judgment to some extent. It's also about, how should I put it, a fresh perspective on things. And we have, again, the Seven of Wands. And again, I want to pull another clarification. So this time I pulled a different deck for clarification because I'm running out of cards. Spirit, please clarify the Seven of Wands for me. Oh my God. 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups, y'all. You saw it. And, hold on, I want to clarify the Page of Swords too. Please clarify the Page of Swords, Spirit. Please clarify the Page of Swords, Spirit. Please clarify the Page of Swords for me. This one. This one. Seven of Swords. Makes sense. So, you have so many swords, by the way. Did I say it? Yeah, I'm going to say it again. So many swords. And you have to, okay, so the outcome, let me put it to you like this. The outcome of the month of September, if you play your cards right, no pun intended, is that you will have a much greater sense of trust in your own judgment. You will learn to think strategically, to make better decisions. And if you learn to overcome your defensiveness, see, 10 of Cups here, this is an advice. And it's clarifying that 7 of Wands. So with the 10 of Cups as advice, this is Spirit telling you eyes on the prize. Okay, keep your eyes on the prize. Don't compromise. Don't go for things, you know, no half measures. Don't go for things that are like good enough now at the sacrifice or at the expense of long-term goals and visions. So go within. This is what the cards are saying. You already know what you want. Don't lie to yourself. Don't second guess. This month is all about you getting close to your goals. And by keeping your eyes on the prize, you will overcome the defensiveness. So we have the 7 of Wands here, some defensiveness, some potential conflicts maybe as well that you might have to weather through in the month of September. But the benefit of all this is you getting closer to your dreams, your visions, your happiness overall. Okay? This is pretty much what I have from the cards. So let me see the oracle, the astrological cards. All right, so Spirit, tell me about pile number 1. What is in store for them in the month of September 2025? What does the month of September 2025 have in store for them? We have Neptune, Dreams and Spirit. We have Opposition, Tension and Opposites. We have 10th house, Career and Success. Very strong confirmation. We have 1st house, Self and Identity. That could be the number 1 that came out. We also have Chiron, Inner Healing. So, Dreams and Spirit, all right? Again, Spirit is telling you to keep dreaming, basically. This is how I see it. Trust. This goes hand in hand with trust your judgment, especially this card, not just your judgment, but this card especially mentioned your intuition. So follow your intuition, your gut feeling, what feels right to you. I also got that song in my head by, I don't know who sings it. It's an 80s song, you know, don't stop believing. I don't know what the rest of the lyrics are. I think it was called The Journey, the band. I'm not sure, or Journey. Anyway, if you look for it, if you look for Don't Stop Believing as lyrics, 80s hits, you will find the song that I'm talking about. So I feel like Spirit is definitely telling you, I feel like, you know, Spirit is giving you a pep talk here. Like maybe many of you are, well, with that 10 of Swords coming out twice, it would make sense. I think that many of you maybe have had a really rough patch recently and kind of has started to lose faith in your plans, maybe in yourself. You also have the number 10 coming out a lot, which again can boil down to, you also have the number 10 here, well, 28, which boils down to a 10 in numerology. But number 10, again, is showing up here with the 10th house, and then we have the 1st house. So September definitely is a house about focusing on yourself and focusing on your career slash trajectory. So 10th house is, sorry, not trajectory. Well, trajectory as well, but 10th house especially is about social status, right? The 10th house, however, in a more spiritual sense, according to Vedic astrology, is connected to your karma, in a way, karma and dharma. So what you have to offer to the world, basically. And 10th house is really coming at the forefront. So September is definitely going to be all about career and yourself, meaning it's about focusing on exactly what you want as opposed to focusing on, let's say, harmony, diplomacy, you know, compromising in relationships, right? So this is not a time, doesn't mean, of course, that you have to walk over dead bodies or be rude to people, but this is a time where you are called to have firm boundaries and to be very clear about what you want out of life and what you want to achieve. And with the 1st house, this can also show, we have inner healing with Chiron. I was going to say that the Queen of Wands does speak of a shadow side. So I feel like Spirit is also telling you, beware of self-sabotage, right? So be careful that you are not sabotaging yourself in, in your actions, right? Because again, the whole reading kind of is a warning about self-sabotage when you think about it. Spirit telling you, don't compromise, don't second guess, learn to trust your own judgment, right? Through trial and error if necessary, because sometimes if you're lacking confidence, for instance, the only way you can increase that is through making mistakes. And that's where the perfectionism card here comes in, right? Don't be afraid of making mistakes. So, and look at it, furthermore, it says it's the root of creativity. Permission to make mistakes is so freeing. It is the root of creativity and change. Allow me, divine, to make as many mistakes as I need. Free me from the prison of perfectionism. Let's not also get into the fact that psychologically perfectionism is something that oftentimes comes from early childhood experiences, having hypercritical parents or caregivers, especially potentially narcissistic parents, right, tend to really stifle their children's ability to grow because they're hypercritical and they make it seem as if every mistake is some kind of catastrophic thing, when in reality making mistakes often is really the best way to learn, right? It's also the best way to learn about yourself and you know, acquire information about who you really are and what you really want out of life. So this is pretty much what I'm seeing. And also with the first house, what I was going to say is the first house is about getting back to your true self, getting back to your original trajectory, because in astrology, the Lagna, the ascendant, which is the cusp of the first house, actually shows your main path in life, the path that you are walking in this life, right? Your entire reality and stuff. So it speaks about getting back to what feels right for you, what makes you motivated and happy. But then the first house is also about the physical body. So if you've had any kind of ailments or anything like that, this is a time to take care of your body, take care of yourself. Don't ignore anything. And also Chiron, again, with the inner healing, speaks of healing inner or old wounds. So if you are inclined to do so, you can go into psychotherapy or just take some time to analyze yourself. That would make sense. And last but not least, I'm going to pull the Astro-Cards Deck. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1. What is in store for pile number 1 in the month of September 2025? Oh, wow. We have the number 5 as well, which corresponds to the 5th house, or the 5th sign of the zodiac, which is Leo, which makes sense. I've mentioned this in many videos, especially in my astrology channel, which I will be linking in the video description if you're curious about it. But I've also mentioned it in some tarot readings that the number 5, the 5th house in astrology, is all about love and self-love and about self-expression, and most importantly, authenticity, right? Leo is all about pursuing your heart's desire. So it's a further kind of reinforcement of everything that was said up until this point. On top of which, 5th house is about getting in touch with your happiness. What brings you joy? What brings you, what makes you feel fulfilled? Again, your heart's desire, right? So things that you would do for fun, even if you weren't paid for them, for instance, or things that you used to enjoy as a kid. 5th house is also connected to children and childhood. So more specifically, for some of you, this could be about having to deal with children more in the month of September. And 5th house is also about education. It refers especially to education up until college level. So up until master's. Some people include the master's in the 5th house as well. So yeah, college, master's degree, that's 5th house level education. And of course, everything up until that point, although 4th house is mostly connected to primary education. So again, for some of you, this could mean this is a good month to focus on getting formal training, expanding your education, maybe starting an educational program. And 5th house is also hobbies. Again, anything you do for fun, right? So getting back in touch with what, old hobbies, or maybe finding new hobbies, finding more time to expand your creativity. That is the 5th house, basically, to have fun and enjoy yourself. And now the 5th house is also about romance. So you might be in a more romantic mood for some of you in this month, although up until this point, all of the reading is about career. I think with the 5th house, as the more you will focus on, your heart's desire and what makes you happy, I think there will be chances of you maybe finding a potential romantic interest as well in the month of September. And if you are in a relationship, this just shows that you might be focusing more on doing romantic stuff with your partner. And then we have Venus here. Wow. I thought it was Mars initially, but it's Venus. Yeah. So this is further reinforcing the healing energy. This is maybe not known in tropical, but in Vedic astrology, Venus is very much about healing. So it's about self-soothing, caring about yourself. And again, it could be romantic as well. So romantic interest, it shows that love chakra energy is very much developed in the month of September. On top of which, Venus is also about money, right? And it's also about beauty. So you also have the 1st house here, self and identity, and Venus. So for many of you, especially if you're women, because Venus is especially connected to women, but not only, this is a month of maybe focusing on a glow up, right? So taking care of your physical body, going through some beauty treatments, or changing your look. So anything that has to deal with Venus is also favored. Venus is all forms of art and enjoying yourself, enjoying the small pleasures of life together with artistic enjoyment. So maybe attending concerts, attending theater plays, or anything cultivating your artistic interests is also favored and is likely to be on your mind basically in the month of September. And then we also have Taurus, which again is ruled by Venus, right? So definitely the small pleasures of life. Like I said, I feel for most of you here, the energy with that 10 of Swords coming out twice. There's a lot of Saturn as well with the number 10, because like 10th house, the number 10, that's Capricorn energy. So I think for most of you here, I'm getting the vibe of people who have gone through some hard times for a long time, and you're pretty much like hardened and bitter, maybe. Sorry if it sounds really negative, but some of you, okay, there will be degrees of bitterness over here. But I'm feeling that kind of, you know, to the point of maybe you haven't had a decent meal in weeks or something because you're only eating on the go, right? Or because everything seems to be all about stress and work and tiredness and duty and responsibility, right? So I feel like Spirit is telling you that you need to take it slower, right? Take time to enjoy the small things in life, especially with that Taurus coming in. And then the positive aspect of this with Venus, Taurus, and Venus and Taurus coming out together, this is a very strong sign that you will actually have the chance to make money doing something you love in September, right? Maybe out of a side hustle, maybe out of a hobby, or you might find a job that is more to your liking. Either way, at the very least, if you're not going to make money from a side hustle, Spirit is simply illustrating how important it is for you to take breaks, that by increasing the time you spend having fun, being creative, you're actually increasing your overall mental clarity, your productivity, right? Your energy, your health. So all of these things are necessary and are going to lead to you being happier and more fulfilled overall. Yeah, this is pretty much how I would read it. Okay, this is it. So I hope you have enjoyed this. Once again, if you have, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, click on the notifications bell if you want to be notified every time I post a new tarot reading. And of course, feel free to comment in the comment section with how this resonated, how it didn't resonate, as long as you keep it polite. Of course, feel free to come back to this reading maybe after a week or two and see if it resonates more or less. And of course, and once the month of September is over, you can come back and look at it again. That would be interesting. So yeah, this has been pretty much it. And aside from all this, if you're interested in supporting my channel further, you can do so by clicking on the join button and support me for with a small monthly fee every month. In addition to that, you can also leave a tip if you want to, or of course, if you're interested in getting a private tarot reading from me, you can check out the video description for my email address, so you can email me for a pricing list, reading options, any other information that you're curious about. Also in the video description, I have left a link to reviews I have gotten for private readings. If you want to check them out, might help you decide if you want to get a reading from me. And last but not least, I also have an astrology channel, and I will be linking it in the video description as well. I have started that channel a long time ago. It has been about 9 years now, actually. Slow and steady growth. So I've started that channel for a lot longer time than this one. And yeah, I focus mainly on Vedic astrology, but also with some tropical insights. And I have more than 20 years of experience doing astrology readings, more than 10 in Vedic astrology, which is now my preferred system. But I also use insights from various astrological systems, including Batsa, Ziwei Doshu, which are Chinese astrology. I haven't done videos about those on my channel, but I use a lot of those insights into my readings on a regular basis. So anyway, if you're interested in astrology and you would like to see astrology related content, go ahead and check out my channel, maybe subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you at my next tarot reading. Bye. Hello and welcome, pile number 2. This is your reading if you have chosen this green aventurine crystal bottle and or this card over here, number 10, the next journey beckons. All right, so this is going to be the card selection phase. I am going to add timestamps so you can skip directly to the interpretation. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2, the people who chose the green aventurine crystal. What will the month of September 2025 bring in their lives? All right, let's see. So we have the High Priestess, the Devil, 8 of Swords, Queen of Swords, the Moon, 7 of Cups. Okay, let's see. Spirit, what can you tell me about pile number 2? What will the month of September bring for them? Queen of Swords under the Queen of Swords. Y'all. Okay, these two want to come out together. The Hanged Man and the Four of Swords. This is, wow, pile number 2. Pile number 2. What can I'm already thinking of some stuff, but I'm going to save it for the interpretation. Let me get some oracle cards, though. Let's see. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What advice do you have for pile number 2 in the month of September 2025? Spirit, what advice do you have for pile number 2 for September 2025? Spirit, what advice do you have for pile number 2 for September 2025? Ah! No! Too many. Spirit, tell me. Okay, this one. So let's see. True offering. May I release the fears, illusions, and addictions that keep me from true offering. May I relax into your plan, trusting that the next steps will always be shown. Use me, love. Use me for the highest. I am yours alone. Fox, clever. You are swift and smart. Yeah, I would think so with the Queen of Swords coming out twice. Solutions to problems are easily found. Always listen to your instincts. Resources surround you. Be open to romance. Number 32, Corn, Feminine, North, Venus, Earth. So I'm going to read the description for this from the booklet. Let me see. Wow, I literally opened exactly where the description is. Feminine, North, Venus, Earth. I am corn. I am the blessed blue corn offering. I am the here we have that offering word again. I am the structure of your life. Combined with beans and squash, we are the life force. I will protect you through the winter of hard times. Success is yours through your hard work, which prepares you for every opportunity and possibility. In these changing times, I am an essential requirement of life that sustains you. I am abundance and energy. All right. Alrighty then, to quote Ace Ventura. I know, I'm old and I have old references. So we have the Queen of Swords twice here. And it came out one underneath the other in the 4th position, pile number 2. So you are the Queen of Swords, okay? This shows that up until this point, you have embodied the Queen of Swords energy. This is Aquarius energy. So it's a very no-nonsense, very rational, controlling sort of energy. It's pretty harsh as well, which explains why you have all these messages about offering and letting go of fears and addictions. Oh my gosh, I just realized you have, may I release the fears, illusions, and addictions that keep me from true offering. May I relax into your plan, trusting that the next steps will always be shown. You have the Devil there. So I wonder if some of you are actually struggling with addictions or have done in the past. That would really make sense. Anyway, right, so you have that Queen of Swords, which says that you are hyper-rational and controlling, but there is a deep lack of trust in divinity. I don't know if this was permanent, although with the Queen of Swords in the past, it does kind of show that this is your general MO, right, your default mode. However, Spirit is telling you to relax a little bit and to be trusting. And then we also have Venus, so feminine, about maybe opening up your feminine energy a little bit more. The High Priestess and the Queen, and the Page of Cups underneath. So at the moment when you come across this reading, you are embodying more of that High Priestess energy, right? You also have the Moon. So I feel like you also have potentially either a strong water energy in your horoscope, or you have placements in Cancer, or a very strong moon placement, right? We have the Moon and the High Priestess, both of which in numerology. So the Moon actually in numerology is ruled by the card, the Moon, I mean, it's ruled by Mars, because we have the number 18 then there on the card, which boils down to a number 9. However, the High Priestess is also connected to the Moon with that number 2, right? So both of these speak of you needing to develop intuition. So you have already started there because of that High Priestess here in the present, right? So your energy right now is about focusing more on intuition and emotions, right? Developing maybe your emotional intelligence, but also just your gentleness, right? Letting go a little bit of controlling energies, right? Being hyper controlling, hyper rational, and wanting everything to be just the way that you wanted, right? So that's the Queen of Swords energy, very rigid. So the Page of Cups underneath, especially, this is showing you kind of opening up, right? So in recent past, and the current moment, you have started to open up a little bit, be a little bit more intuitive. I mean, here you are listening to a tarot reading, right? Yeah, becoming more intuitive, more open maybe to things that normally you would have dismissed, and being a little less left-brained, I guess, basically, which Spirit seems to suggest is you heading down the right path. Now, in the second position, you have the Devil, clarified by the Page of Pentacles, and I want another clarification. Spirit, please clarify the Devil and the Page of Pentacles here. Three of Cups. So, Spirit is pretty clearly saying that if you're struggling with addiction, with maybe even mental health or dark thoughts, so to speak, you should not hesitate to reach out to others. The Three of Cups especially actually speaks of you reaching out to friends or acquaintances. And even if, let's say, you're in a very isolated situation right now, any single person that you could think about, maybe old friends, right, that you haven't talked to in a long time, Spirit is telling you, don't hesitate to reach out, basically, okay? For some of you, maybe the only option is to get professional help, because, that's the easiest, fastest way to talk to someone. But for those of you who have, extended family or estranged friends or something, don't hesitate to ask for help, even if you're thinking, oh, I don't want to bother anyone. You would be surprised. You would be surprised to know that actually there are people who are open towards you and would want to help you if you really reached out. So, yeah, I mean, the Devil also speaks of you being very driven by materialism because of that Page of Pentacles underneath, right? Which is not necessarily a bad or a good thing. It's just, it is what it is, which doesn't kind of make sense with the Queen of Swords coming out twice, because whenever I get that, I always think Aquarius, Rahu. So I wonder if many of you have Rahu placements, or maybe placements in the nakshatras ruled by Rahu. Ardra, Satabisha, Swati nakshatras, right? So anyway, I digress. This is pretty much what I have with the support. So moving on to the third position, which is the Eight of Swords here, clarified by the Death. So this is what's kind of standing in your way in the month of September. And again, I'm going to pull a clarification here. Spirit, please clarify the Death for me. Please clarify the Death. The Hierophant. Oh, wow. The number 5 there again. So, this is gonna, it's kind of, well, I'm just gonna tell it like it is, okay? And this really makes sense now that I think about it with all the, speaking of you being Rahu dominant, I wonder if many of you have Rahu prominently placed in your horoscope. I'm kind of maybe getting a little bit of a sense of the rebel without a cause here. You know, maybe there were times in your life where you, without realizing, have rejected things, maybe people, notions, ways of doing things, just for the sake of not doing it as everybody else is doing it. Kind of just kind of a desire to be against others, right? Maybe a problem with authority figures. Maybe I know you're thinking I'm reading too much into it, but this is the vibe I'm getting. I got a vibe, okay? So again, if it's not resonating at all, I don't know. Just wait another 10 minutes and then... I'm guessing if it hasn't resonated at all, you've already stopped listening. So anyway, the Hierophant, okay? This is telling me that you should at least consider the conventional way of doing things. Consider taking a more beaten path. Because the Eight of Swords, right, with the Death underneath, so this shows you're very driven to change something. You're very driven to change something about your life. Maybe you're someone who's addicted to change, addicted to novelty. You get bored very easily. And at the same time, Spirit is telling me you have the blinkers on about something. So you need to open up your mind about something. I couldn't tell you exactly what this is. Actually, hold on. Let me get another clarification. Spirit, please clarify the Eight of Swords for me. Knight of Wands. Please clarify the Knight of Wands. Eight of Cups. Yeah, whatever this is, Spirit is telling you that you have headed down a right path. So there's, hold on, not yet. You haven't headed down the wrong path, sorry, but there is a risk in September that you will head down a wrong direction. And this is because you are too stuck in a certain way of doing things or a certain way of seeing things. So Spirit is telling you that you need to open your mind a little bit. This also speaks of not just trying a more traditional path, but maybe learning, right? So being open to learn, being open to listen to certain people that maybe you didn't normally want to listen to. And then, yeah, the Queen of Swords in the 4th position, I've already covered that. So it basically means that up until this point, you have really developed that Queen of Swords energy. And you're a very rational person. It also shows you have a very strong willpower. So you're most likely kind of a my way or the highway sort of person that doesn't like to be tolerant. Which in some ways is a good thing. In other ways could get in your way, right? In other ways can get in your way. In other ways, right, it can be a hindrance in you achieving your goals. So this is mainly what I'm getting here, especially with that Hierophant energy, is you need to be careful not to offend people in positions of authority, right? especially if these are people that are necessary, right? Their opinion is necessary for you to get something. So for instance, I don't know, you get a new job and you already get into an argument with the boss, right? Try to be more diplomatic about these things. And more specifically, Spirit is telling you that you might actually have the wrong idea about some people. So that you might have the blinkers on and you might think, oh, there's nothing I can learn from this person, or again, you might have this tendency to just reject something just because you don't like the person it's coming from. And most likely this is because it's coming from an authority figure that you have a problem with. This is the vibe that I'm getting. So see how this resonates. And then we have the Moon and the King of Pentacles in action. So this is saying that you have to use your, again, intuition, your imagination, but the Moon is also about emotional intelligence, right? So develop your emotional intelligence, develop your ability to put yourself in other people's shoes, right? Your empathy. And the King of Pentacles, this is basically you being down to earth. It's being pragmatic. It is showing that for the most part, luck is on your side, right? In the month of September, the King of Pentacles especially is showing that there will be potential for material gain, significant material gain. But you also have to watch your actions, right? And not be as stubborn, and maybe open your mind and change your way of doing some things. The Moon also speaks of not being unconscious, right? So learn to understand yourself, be self-aware, don't act out of emotions. Which may sound like a little bit of a contradiction, but it isn't, right? It's because, see, the Queen of Swords, and this is something you realize with people who are very focused on being rational for most of their lives, what actually ends up happening with them is that they end up getting ruled by their subconscious programming, because they never actually take time, many of them, not all of them, but many of them, they never actually take time to analyze themselves, to understand their motivations, their drives, their behavior, like where are their impulses coming from, why do they feel the way they feel, right? So as a consequence, they actually become very unconscious, even though on the surface they claim to be very rational, right? And they might actually be very good at being rational, making rational decisions conventionally, right, according to the eyes of society, but they could still be driven by unconscious programming. So just to give you an example, right, let's say someone who is a lawyer, and let's say they're very good, right, they have won countless cases, everyone recognize them as a formidable opponent, someone who's very rational, very quick-witted, right, very rational and logical and all that, very sharp-tongued, but maybe at the same time they, I don't know, could be blind to the fact that their family is exploiting them, right? So, I don't know, let's say deep down inside, they're still driven to impress their parents, because their parents were narcissistic and could never give them an approval or the love that they craved. So they always kept it at arm's length. And now maybe this person, the lawyer person, is still giving money to the parents, right? And maybe people around them are looking at them and seeing the exploitation, but they're blind to it, because they're still programmed. They're under that programming that's like, no, I need to impress my parents. I need to get my parents' approval, right? This is kind of a very kind of, obvious example, but something along those lines is what I'm trying to say, right? So the Queen of Swords here, this is the kind of vibe that I'm getting from this reading, right? So you could be a person that, in a way, has become very hyper rational, but some of you, at least, could be in this kind of a scenario where you still have a lot of subconscious programming driving your life, right? So Spirit is telling you that you need to work through that. Especially here, this is like the action part. This is what you have to be doing in the month of September. And the moon speaks of, you know, that border between the conscious and the subconscious. So with the moon, keeping a dream journal, going to psychotherapy, reading about, maybe doing a little bit of self-study, right, about whatever it is that might be hanging heavily on your shoulders, something that's, you know, really bothering you at the back of your mind. So doing a little bit of soul searching, right? That could be very useful for you in the month of September to make sure that you're not actually self-sabotaging or, yeah, making the wrong decisions. And now we have the Seven of Cups, the Hanged Man, and the Four of Swords. Hold on, I want to get some clarifications. Spirit, please clarify the King of Pentacles here. Ten of Wands. Please clarify the Four of Swords, Spirit. Ace of Swords. Please clarify the Hanged Man. Page of Pentacles, which also came out here. All right, so the Moon and the King of Pentacles here with the Ten of Wands underneath. This is saying two main things. Number one, success will come to you if you persevere long enough. So it speaks of, on the one hand, the need to keep working at it, right? So not to give up too easily before you can reap the rewards. So success, it will come at the end of a long journey, right? So a lot of effort has to be put in. Another thing that it says is, again, don't be afraid to ask for help. This is already a repeated message. So the Ten of Wands speaks very much of someone who maybe is closed off, is used to carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. It speaks of someone who takes responsibilities for things that are not even their responsibility, right? And again, this kind of goes, especially since the moon is on top there, kind of goes hand in hand with some blind spots that you might have, right? So there might be people taking advantage of you without even realizing it. For instance, maybe at work you take on other coworkers' workload without having to do so, or because you're afraid to put your foot down and reinforce boundaries, right? So that is, again, that is kind of a warning sign in the sense that be careful not to get into burnout because you're doing, doing a lot more than you should. A lot more than is your responsibility. Now, with the Seven of Cups clarified by the Four of Swords and the Hanged Man, and now we have Ace of Swords underneath the Four of Swords, and we have Page of Pentacles underneath the Hanged Man. So, Page of Pentacles is showing up twice here. It's also showing up in support. So again, this is an advice from Spirit with that Page of Pentacles. This could be about an opportunity that will show up, especially financial or career-wise in the month of September. So if there is an opportunity showing up, Spirit's advice is to take it. It's as simple as that. And then with the Ace of Swords, this is also Spirit's advice to keep your... So here's the thing. You have to still use your rational ability. I mean, yes, you have to cultivate, intuitive understanding and all that, but that doesn't mean that you should stop thinking rationally. So the Four of Swords clarified by Ace of Swords, to me, this shows that by resting on something, you will have clarity. And again, this is a message to practice meditation. Whenever I see the Four of Swords, meditation is the most important thing. At the very least, right, if you're not inclined to do meditation, this is definitely speaking of self-reflection, resting. And especially with the Seven of Cups, actually, the outcome of the month of September is you will be having a lot of opportunities. And the Four of Swords, and both of them, see, these are wonderfully, you know, explaining a very coherent scenario here. It's you gonna be kind of in analysis paralysis over here. You're gonna be like a little bit confused about should I stay or should I go? Or which option should I go for, right? And Spirit is definitely telling you that you need to rest in order to have clarity of mind. So rest, again, can also be literally, as in make sure you are well rested so you can think clearly, but it also speaks of going within, meditating, right? Doing a little bit of soul searching, getting in touch with what it is you truly want out of life. And like I said, Page of Pentacles, this is an advice to take opportunities, right? But don't just take any opportunity. Take the opportunities that are in line with your long-term plans. And also, don't fret. As in, Spirit is telling you to remember that you have already overcome some challenges, right? You have fallen on your feet before. So don't overly stress out about the outcome of anything, right? Solutions are going to come to you. You are clever. Your intelligence will lead the way, will help you find the solutions to your problems. And yeah, that's pretty much what I can see here. Swift and smart. Also be open to romance, right? I'm going to see what the Astro cards have to say about that. Let's see if it's a repeated theme. But open to romance makes sense to me with all that Queen of Swords energy, right? So Spirit is telling you to open your heart a little bit. I'm getting Listen to Your Heart by Roxette in my head right now. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What is the month of September 2025 going to bring for pile number 2? Okay, so we have Saturn, which I see as a strong confirmation because, well, Aquarius is co-ruled by Saturn, and, well, it's, yeah, co-ruled by Saturn and Rahu, sorry. So we have Saturn, which makes sense, because like I said, I'm seeing a lot of hard work, a lot of stoicism, a lot of whatever, right? A lot of rationality, right? And I have to say, with Saturn coming through for September 2025, this is definitely showing that it's that 10 of Wands energy, right? So there is a pot of gold waiting for you somewhere at the end of a long, rocky road. And this month is about you proving your stamina, proving your determination, your resourcefulness, your resilience, right? So keep sticking to whatever the plan is. Now, Gemini, with the Three of Cups that came out, this is also, again, reinforcing the need for socialization. And it's also saying that you will have opportunities to socialize in the month of September, so you should make the most of those. Chiron, inner healing, I feel is self-explanatory. It is definitely reinforcing everything else that I've seen here. With the moon especially, I forgot to say this, but I've said it time and again with other readings. Whenever you see the moon card in tarot, this is very specifically speaking of deep, old wounds. So most likely stemming from childhood, or it could be something that happened later, but it's an old wound, right? And again, in addition to speaking to the difference and the border between the subconscious and the conscious mind. So therapy, very much recommended. Meditation, very much recommended. Maybe some self-hypnosis even. Getting into the Silva method and all that. But yeah, doing some self-analysis, very much recommended. It's a good month for healing that will definitely lead to progress. Third house, communication and interaction. So definitely Gemini is coming out strongly, right? So there will be plenty of communication happening for you in the month of September. You might find yourself socializing with more people. If you are someone who has, let's say, a job where you have to communicate more, or maybe you have some social media following, this is definitely pointing to an increase of your reach. And in addition to that, with the third house, this is about will. So we have Aries in the 3rd house. So your willpower, like I said, I mean, it's already strong with that Queen of Swords coming out twice. But in this month, you're going to feel very determined, very independent, right? So determined to pursue your own path. And the 3rd house is about courage as well. So is Aries. So there will be a lot of focus on, again, expressing exactly what you want, going after what you want. Your willpower, right, is going to be particularly strong, but it's also going to be tested in the month of September because of that Saturn energy, right? So you might come across some limitations, some frustrations, but you ultimately have the strength to overcome them. 3rd house can also speak of short distance or short-term travels, can also speak of neighbors and younger siblings. So siblings in general, but especially younger siblings. So these areas of life could really come to the forefront in September 2025. You might have some issues, or it could be positive experiences happening actually connected to the 3rd house. Like maybe you're gonna meet your sibling after a long time. Like I said, could also be short-term, short-distance travel. So going on a short holiday, a city break, something like that could definitely be favored in the month of September. Now, let me get the Astro dice, last but not least. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What is the month of September 2025 going to bring for them? Oh my God. We have Uranus, all right, which in tropical astrology is the ruler of Aquarius. And we have Aquarius itself. And we have the number 5. Number 5 also came out for pile number 1. So if you feel drawn to it, go ahead and check it out. There might be messages there for you. So with all this Aquarius, and oh my God, and again, Uranus to me is similar in energy to Rahu, okay? Also because it's the co-ruler of, sorry, not the co-ruler, it is the ruler of astrology. So of Aquarius in tropical astrology. So in tropical astrology, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and in Vedic astrology, it's ruled by Saturn and Rahu. Either way, the Aquarian energy in this reading is overwhelming. So, and by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if many of you have placements as Satabhisha Nakshatra. Or somehow that nakshatra is this energy, because that's similar to the Chiron energy, right? So it's kind of a wounded healer energy. It's connected to the medical field, and it's connected to people who learn about an ailment through their own suffering, right? And then use that information to heal others and themselves a lot of the time. So anyway, Uranus is very much connected to change, right? So just like Rahu is connected to sudden changes, Uranus is the same energy. So September could be a month of sudden changes for you. This is also explained with the Death card showing up here. Sudden changes, sudden upheavals, and also the High Priestess is very Aquarian, because in Vedic astrology, Aquarius, not Pisces, is seen as the most spiritual sign of the zodiac. It's because of the concept called Bhavad Bhavam, which is the 12th, basically the number of houses from that house, right? So in this case, Aquarius is the 12th from the 12th sign, which makes it a higher expression of Pisces. So the 12th sign is Pisces, Aquarius is the 11th sign, right? But Aquarius is the 12th from Pisces. So that makes it the most spiritual sign of the zodiac. The most spiritual, not the most religious. That's another thing, by the way, with Saturn, that could also be part of what is going to change for you in this month. Because of that Saturn and also having the High Priestess, I feel like many of you might be questioning old beliefs. For some of you, this could even be questioning traditions. Although, like I said, some of you, and I feel this is the case with most of you, you might have kind of that rebel without a cause energy. So in your case, Spirit, especially with Saturn here, right? Whenever Saturn shows up, Saturn is like that hard taskmaster sort of energy. It's kind of like that oppressive, I don't know, the school principal that's very tough and no nonsense, right? Kind of makes me think of a teacher, leave the kids alone. That kind of, the teacher archetype that is described in that song, that's very Saturnian, right? So, and whenever Saturn shows up, because I asked, you know, what's going to come for you in the month of September, and this is what came out. So Saturn showing up, this is telling you that you need to cultivate that Saturn energy, right? So maybe many of you have been too much of a rebel up until this point, and Spirit is saying you need to cultivate that discipline, that good old-fashioned planning, not leaving anything to chance, patience. That's a big one with Saturn, right? Being able to keep showing up day by day, keep grinding, right? Knowing that results are not going to show up immediately, right? But with you, with that 10 of Wands and that King of Pentacles, there are big rewards to be reaped by the end of this month and even further down the line if you stick to the Saturn challenge of working hard towards your goals. In addition to all the things that I've mentioned as well, like you have to process your emotions and potentially see a therapist and all that, and or at the very least do a little bit of self-analysis. And overall, yes, Spirit telling you to loosen up a little bit. The number 5, because I'm not going to ignore it, the number 5 connects to Leo, which is authenticity. So it's like the opposite of Aquarius, and actually herein lies maybe the main message of your reading. So you are asked to explore a little bit of that opposite energy from you. So you are Aquarius. You're very intense, very rational, very stubborn in your ways. Aquarian is fixed ideas. It's fixed intellectual energy, right? So you could have the blinkers on, and also you could be hyper rational, hyper controlling. You want everything to make sense. And Spirit is telling you, loosen up a little bit. Enjoy that 5th house, right? That opposite energy of Leo, which is about having fun, being your authentic self without hyper rationalizing. Maybe just go for what you feel like, what makes you happy, without thinking about whether you're going to make money out of that, right? And I feel like that also goes hand in hand with this, with the true offering, right? May I release the fears, illusions, and addictions that keep me from true offering. May I relax into your plan, trusting that the next steps will always be shown. Use me, love. Use me for the highest. I am yours alone. Interesting, because the 5th house is the house of love. A lot of people don't think about that, but in Vedic astrology, 5th house, Leo, that is the heart chakra, which is why it's connected to doing what you love, right? So in Vedic astrology, for instance, connections between the 5th and the 10th houses shows people who do what they love for a living. So yeah, I feel like Spirit is telling you to, yes, work, but then also think about what gives you meaning, what brings out your best qualities, right? And also to relax a little bit and have faith. Have faith that there's a higher plan and that everything is going to settle eventually. But let's be honest, faith is not. So it's going hand in hand with everything. It's not a contradiction. Faith does not mean, you know, just sitting back, relaxing, doing nothing, right? Faith means trusting the process, right? So it's trusting the fact that if you do your part, you work hard, you put your effort into something that you truly believe in, that the results are going to show up, even if they're going to be slow to come, especially throughout the month of September. So yeah, this is pretty much what I see. Also with Aries, one last thing that I want to say. Aries is also speaking of you having strong energy and also not being afraid. So you shouldn't be afraid to stand up for yourself. It doesn't mean being rude or causing unnecessary conflict, but Aries definitely says make sure that you are true to yourself, right? True to yourself, and you're not afraid to go after what you want. And also with the 3rd house, watch out to your hands, arms, lungs, the respiratory system. So if there's any vulnerability involving this, keep, get it checked. Don't listen, don't wait for anything, because it might aggravate, right? Also the 3rd house can be connected, the 3rd and the Saturn, yeah. So any kind of vulnerability, right? So anything involving the hands, the arms, the shoulders, the chest, especially the respiratory system, the nervous system to some extent as well, all of these things. Don't neglect your health issues connected to these things. If you have had health issues connected to these things, there is a good chance that they're going to get better in the month of September because of this healing energy. But of course, it's not going to be a miracle. You still have to work for it, right? Okay, this is pretty much what I can see pile number 2. I hope you will enjoy this and make the most of it. And if you have enjoyed it, of course, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notifications bell if you want to be notified when I upload a new tarot reading. In addition, of course, feel free to comment in the comment section with anything you want to share, how this resonated, whether it resonated, how it didn't resonate. Of course, as long as you are polite, I don't mind. And of course, feel free to come back to this video in a week, 2, 3, 4, or after September is over and tell me how it resonated. Also share it with other people in the comment section. I just got that song in my head, Wake Me Up When September Ends. Christ, that song was pretty sad, so I hope it's not that dramatic for anyone. Anyway, aside from that, of course, if you're interested in a private tarot reading, you can check out the video description. In the video description, I've left my email address there, so you can email me for a pricing list, reading options, other details. I've also left a link in the video description to a blog post with reviews that I have gotten for private readings before, in case you want to check them out. Might help you to decide if you want to get a reading from me. In addition to that, last but not least, I have an astrology channel, and I will be linking it in the video description as well. It's called Astro Martine, and I focus mainly on Vedic astrology, but also with some tropical insights. I have more than 20 years of experience in reading horoscopes, more than 10 in Vedic astrology, which is my preferred system right now. But I've also studied, well, I started out with tropical for about 10 years, and then I've also studied some Batsa, Ziwe Doshu. I've also studied numerology, mostly self-taught, but I've also done some courses. Anyway, I post a lot of content on my astrology channel, so if you're curious about anything connected to astrology, go ahead and check it out. Maybe subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. And then, of course, if you would like to support my channel further here, you can do so by clicking on the join button and supporting me through a small monthly fee. You can also leave a tip if you want, and then, of course, you can also just share this video with as many people as you can think of. It would help a lot. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you at my next tarot reading. Bye! Hello, and welcome pile number 3. This is your reading if you have chosen this bottle of onyx crystals, and or this card over here with the number 44 that says, She is 1,000 flowers. So this is going to be the card selection phase. I'm going to add timestamps so you can skip directly to the interpretation if you don't want to sit through it. So, Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What is the month of September 2025 going to bring for them? Page of Swords, the Tower, the Three of Swords, the Hermit, the Six of Cups, Temperance. Let's see. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What will the month of September 2025 bring for them? King of Swords, King of Pentacles, Strength, Ten of Wands, Hermit again, Queen of Cups. I have to say, I know I haven't done a reading for my channel in over a month, actually, according to the data on my YouTube channel. But as far as I remember, I don't remember having had a reading like this in a long time where all 3 piles seem to have some recurring themes. Of course, they're different also, but there are also some recurring themes and energy. So I just want to say that if you feel drawn to any of the previous 2 piles, either of the previous 2 piles, feel free to watch because there might be messages there for you. So I'm going to pull some oracle cards as well. Let me see. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3, the Onyx group. What advice do you have for them for September 2025? Spirit, what advice do you have for pile number 3, the Onyx group, for September 2025? Spirit, what advice do you have for pile number 3, the Onyx group, for September 2025? So let's see. Wow. Okay. Courage. Divine courage is not the absence of fear, but a nudge that says, keep going, do it. Don't worry, all will be well. You have to get quiet enough to hear it. Dear Divine, may I feel your courage and your will. All right. Oh, this card came out for one of the other 2 piles. So again, if you felt drawn to any of the other 2 piles, go ahead and check them out. Might be messages there for you. So, Fox Clever, you are swift and smart. Solutions to problems are easily found. Always listen to your instincts. Resources surround you. Be open to romance. And we have Rose Moon, Cancer, Shields, Adolescent with number 4. I'm going to read the description for this from the booklet. So, let me see. Rose Moon, June 21st to July 22nd. I am Rose Moon. I am beauty unfolding. I am the sweet fragrance of life. To enjoy me, you must deal with my horns. Beware, they hurt. Under rose moonlight, your qualities of mothering, nurturing, and giving beauty are emphasized. Now is a good time to look at your home environment, examine the thorns and the blossoms. What can you do to improve your space mentally and physically? You may need to mother your own inner child at this time. Tap into your inner strength, your ancient crone, the old aged one in yourself to take care of the teenager who is craving attention. Okay, that's very cool. Yeah, good advice from Spirit, I guess. Everyone, I think, could benefit from, you know, cleaning up their space to some extent. And also that message about taking care of your inner child is interesting because you have the 6 of Cups here. So that would make sense. 6 of Cups kind of is that inner child energy. So pile number 3, you do have some heaviness over here. We have the 3 of Swords. We have the Tower. The Tower is not necessarily a bad thing though, because you have the King of Pentacles underneath. That's a good thing. And then we have the Hermit coming out twice for you. So... and we have this card with She is 1,000 Flowers. Wow. Okay. So we have this message of mothering again. Because this woman is pregnant here. And being your own, taking care of your inner child that is craving attention. That's what this card said. Okay. Rose Moon. Cancer, Shields, Adolescent. We also have the number 4 coming out a lot. 44 here boils down to a number 8 in numerology, which because it's a 4 plus 4, and that is a number ruled by Saturn / Pluto. And we also have the number 10 quite a bit. So that's hard work, basically, and challenges, but it also shows materialism and material success. Anyway, so we have the Page of Swords and the King of Swords. So this is your current state here. So this shows that at this time, when you're coming across this reading, first of all, you are pretty confident in your intellectual abilities. You are used to making decisions. You are used to taking the reins in many ways, right? So it's interesting, though, because the Page of Swords is the first card and the King of Swords is a clarification. So what I'm seeing here is, speaking of that adolescent energy, I feel like many of you have an approach of fake it till you make it. So actually, I take it back a little bit. So I backtrack a little bit. I did say that you are confident. I think with most of you, actually, you may not be that confident. In fact, you're rather are very careful to portray yourself as someone who's very much an adult, very confident, right? But you might have some insecurities going on. you may not quite feel like that King of Swords, but that's how you want to be, you know? That is your goal, right? But you're heading that way, okay? So you have gone through some situations that have tested your resilience, your capability, and have landed on your feet successfully. So you are working towards it, but maybe are not fully there, not fully confident in your intellectual abilities. Then we have the Tower clarified by the King of Pentacles in the second position. So I'm going to pull a clarification already. Spirit, please clarify the King of Pentacles for me over here. Three of Wands. That makes sense. Okay, so the Tower is speaking of a change. A big change coming to. There's a big change coming towards you, right? And this is working in your favor. This really makes me think of that line, I may have referenced it before, from Game of Thrones, where Littlefinger is talking to Varys, and Varys is saying something along the lines of, what do we have once we abandon the dream? Chaos, a gaping pit waiting to swallow us whole. And Littlefinger is like, chaos isn't a pit, it's a ladder. And then he goes on this, speech about how chaos is testing people and how only the toughest succeed and all that stuff. Okay, maybe that's overly dramatic, but this is kind of what it makes me think of here in your reading, is you might find yourself in the month of September through some kind of chaos, right? Or some unexpected situation that initially will feel like it's really testing you, really turning things upside down, right? Something you really had no way of expecting. Or this could actually be an ongoing thing. So maybe it's not one specific thing that's going to happen in September. It's the overall chaos that you are experiencing in your life that Spirit is saying might be a blessing in disguise. With that King of Pentacles underneath and the Three of Wands, it's telling you to maintain your focus in times of turmoil, because there will be chances for you to gain something materially, right? The King of Pentacles speaks of material gain, career gain. So it's an energy of being kind of a boss in a way, right? So it doesn't mean that every one of you is going to become an entrepreneur in the month of September. You're going to become the next Elon Musk. But there will be some significant opportunities for you in September that, if you make the most of, will lead you to a higher level of wealth, a higher level of career success as well. And that Three of Wands is Spirit telling you, again, to strike the iron while it's hot, to not hesitate, to go after what you want. The Three of Wands is in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, which is this one actually. It's a card that kind of shows that man looking towards ships passing by at the horizon, and he's sitting there kind of wistfully looking towards them while standing on a cliff. So it's a card that speaks of not letting opportunities pass you by, right? It's about taking action and being confident about it, right? So not hesitating. Another way to look at it is basically any action is better than no action, right? So it's also actually going hand in hand with this courage card, now that I realize it, right? So Spirit is telling you, don't be a wimp. Like, whatever it is, there might be something that you really want presenting itself in the month of September, but you might be terrified to go after it. Whatever it is, Spirit is telling you to go after it, right? If it's something, if it's your heart's desire, even if it seems like it might plunge you into chaos, it's progress, basically. And also, you should have faith that you're going to find solutions to any problem that might arise, especially, again, with this card over here, right? You are swift and smart. Solutions to problems are easily found. Always listen to your instincts. Resources surround you. Be open to romance. That's a random little detail at the end. Okay, but we're going to get to that. Then we have the Three of Swords clarified by the Strength. This is the third position. So the third position is basically what might be standing in your way in the month of September. So Three of Swords and the Strength. The way that I would read this is, well, going hand in hand with that open to romance thing, is that some of you might be pretty closed off. And I don't just mean to romance. You might be closed off emotionally in general, maybe to meeting new people, to networking, right? You may have some very serious trust issues, I have to say, with this configuration over here. There might have been past heartbreak. I'm not going to sugarcoat it with the Three of Swords. And because of that, right, there is a state of guardedness. There is a state of you thinking that life is all about just being resilient and surviving, and that's it, right? Somehow you don't want to gamble. You don't want to gamble by putting your faith in something that might seem too whimsical, too crazy, right? But as a consequence of that, you might find yourself feeling emotionally stifled and not fully motivated, not fully alive even, because you're not really allowing yourself to fully go after your heart's desires, right? You're kind of tweaking your goals so that they are less risky and less likely to lead to disappointment. But they're not fully your goals, if that makes sense. And with the Strength, hold on, I want to clarify. Please clarify the Strength card, Spirit. Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles speaks of, again, not being afraid to reach out to people for help. And it also speaks of open your eyes to all of the resources available to you. So whether these resources are people or skills or anything, look around and think about everything and anything that you can use to your advantage to overcome whatever challenges might come towards you in September. Now, we have the Hermit, clarified by the Ten of Wands, which are, you know, they go together like horse and carriage, basically. The Hermit and the Ten of Wands, because both of them speak of isolation. So this also, by the way, the fourth position, this is a recent past. This is your past, basically. This is like me being the ghost of Christmas past here, and you're like Scrooge, and I'm telling you what your past, present, and future is. Okay, I'm kidding. But seriously, this is kind of like, I was just going to say, this is kind of a Scrooge figure. Okay, I'm going to shut up with the Scrooge thing. I'm going to leave that for Christmas, right? When Christmas approaches, I'm going to do the Scrooge analogies. But this is kind of, you know, the Hermit and the Ten of Wands speaks of someone who has been in isolation for a long time. Not saying that it's 100%, that it's all your fault or something. It could be, well, considering the rest of the reading, I would say it's probably because of past hurts. However, the Hermit and the Ten of Wands speak of you not opening up to people, right? So getting used to having to do everything yourself. But the Ten of Wands especially speaks of you not even considering reaching out to others, not even asking for help, okay? Thinking that you have to do everything, because otherwise, if you ask for help, that's a sign of weakness, right? So this is the Ten of Wands energy. So on top of that, with the Ten of Wands, there could be this energy of someone who is taking on more than their fair share of responsibilities. So you might be taking care of people that can take care of themselves, right? Or at work, you're taking on other people's tasks because maybe, I don't know, you are afraid to put your foot down and tell them that you're not going to do their work anymore. Things like that, right? So this is the past, and this is what you have gone through up until this point. Basically, I see a lot of solitude and a lot of feeling like you haven't had any help, really. Like you've had to go through everything the hard way, and I've had to struggle. However, I also see potential for resilience, and I see the fact that you've probably managed to take care of yourself pretty well up until this point with that Ten of Wands. It speaks of, you know, having achieved a certain amount of something significant, especially materially, through hard effort, without any kind of luck, without any kind of handouts basically given to you or help of any kind. Then we have the Six of Cups and the Hermit again. So this is the action plan, basically. Six of Cups and the Hermit. So I need a clarification with this one again. Please clarify the Hermit, Spirit. This Hermit, please clarify it. Four of Pentacles. Interesting. So this is showing... Oh yeah, I see what this is about. Yeah, so I definitely see the portrait of a person who has had to pinch every penny, pretty much. I'm guessing most of you have not come from wealth or have not had an easy life materially. So I see a lot of having to fight, having to struggle for what you needed, for what you wanted, right? So I see things not coming easily for you. And at the same time, with that Six of Cups with the Hermit here, this is telling me that Spirit wants you to loosen up a little bit, right? That Six of Cups is about spoiling yourself to some extent, also being kind to yourself, right? It goes hand in hand with that. Here we have the number 4 again. By the way, the number 4 in astrology is the house of, well, the 4th house is the house of Cancer and the moon. So that's early childhood, that's mother archetype. And again, we have this repeated mothering energy here that speaks of you needing to parent yourself. I mean, this card in particular actually talked about parenting yourself, this one. So the Six of Cups energy here is saying that this is a month of loosening up. This is a month of getting in touch with your inner child. It's about getting back to basics, right? Getting back to who you were maybe when you were a kid and you had no cares, or maybe you did have cares, but when you were a kid and you were closer to your true essence, when, you know, society hadn't corrupted you, let's say. And it's about getting back in touch with who you really are. This is what I'm seeing here. With that Hermit energy, in this case, right, in the 5th position, it's not necessarily a negative thing. This is not Spirit telling you that you have to be alone. It's actually telling you that it is good for you to be discerning, right? So the Hermit does not necessarily speak of always, depending on context. It doesn't always speak of you just being isolated. It speaks of someone who actually chooses isolation. And I feel like in the past, you have chosen isolation because of lack of trust, or because you felt like nobody cared, really. But here in action, Spirit is telling you to be discerning about the people you allow close to you. And at the same time, it's telling you to listen to your inner voice. So, or that inner child, if you want to look at it like that. That star that shows up in the Hermit card, this is about someone, you know, being undeterred from pursuing their own truth. This is ultimately the most spiritual explanation for the Hermit. So someone who will not compromise, okay? And the Hermit in a social sense doesn't necessarily say you have to stay alone. It says you have to be discerning. You have to choose people that allow you to be yourself, that will join you in an authentic expression, right? People who are also healed and true to themselves. I know that's much easier said than done, but you have to, this is advice, okay? So this is the advice I'm seeing from the cards. You have to do your best to only surround yourself with these kinds of people. Even if it means maybe initially, you know, burning some bridges and actually spending some time in isolation, literally. Okay? Or I'm not saying, you know, burn bridges completely if you don't have other options, but at least distance yourself from people that don't allow you to be yourself, right? That make you feel miserable. And this is also with the Four of Pentacles, the advice. This is why I was saying about the money thing. The Four of Pentacles is basically saying that you are someone who's pretty worried about finances. Even if you are in a comfortable position right now, you probably have this mindset that money is not easy to come by. And I'm not judging. I'm just reading the cards. It could be because of past experiences, and it's not unreasonable to think that money is not easy to come by. But it usually shows up in the profiles of people who have had to work hard for everything they have and have not had things handed out to them. So anyway, that Four of Pentacles is saying don't be overly obsessed with money, right? So it's telling you, okay, it's good to preserve yourself. It's also, by the way, it's Four of Pentacles is speaking of self-preservation, not just when it comes to the material, but also the emotional and the spiritual. So it's really wonderful how it came out to clarify the Hermit and clarify the Six of Cups. This is all about choosing yourself. It's about protecting yourself from people that may not appreciate you, not really, or that try to, maybe worst of all, people who try to shove you into some kind of a, some kind of a mold that doesn't suit you because it suits them. So these could be, family figures, it could be spouses, it could be friends, it could be anyone who is not really allowing you to be yourself and doesn't really want to really know the true you. That is not a person that you would want to hang out with in the September, right? So Spirit is really telling you that this is a time to stay true to yourself, right? It's time to get back to that who you were originally and what really makes you happy, that Six of Cups energy, that inner child, okay? And then we have right, so wait, I was going to complete something. So the Four of Pentacles, yeah, it doesn't mean that you have to just throw money out the window, but the Four of Pentacles definitely says you might be a little bit too obsessed with managing your finances to the point where you never allow yourself to loosen up a little bit. I don't know, to go out every once in a while, right? You might be the kind of person that indulges a little bit and then you beat yourself up for like 2 weeks because you bought yourself, I don't know, something that was not according to your budget plan, right? So I think Spirit is also telling you need to loosen up a little bit, because at the end of the day, the point of materialism is also to help you enjoy life. So there's no point in hoarding money and keeping it in an account while you are pinching every penny every day, and you never indulge, never enjoy yourself. That also, that pampering yourself also goes hand in hand with taking care of your inner child, especially if you had parents who didn't pamper you, right? Okay, enough with the fifth position. So moving on to the sixth position, which is basically the outcome for the month of September, you have Temperance and the Queen of Cups underneath, which is a very beautiful ending, actually. Temperance speaks of, number one, balance, right? So it speaks of you by the end of the month having a balanced view of things. It shows kind of a gaining a new perspective energy. It also speaks of potentially reaching, so this could speak of balance on multiple planes, right? It could be material balance, it could be emotional balance, it could be all of those at the same time, right? So Temperance basically shows it's definitely a move towards a positive outcome. It's not like a super positive outcome, usually, at least not considering the rest of the spread. So I'm not going to tell you that you're going to win the lottery within the next 30 days. But Temperance definitely shows that you're going to be in a better position emotionally and psychologically by the end of the month. And I feel like a lot of rigidity is going to melt away by the end of the month. Because look at this, you're moving from the King of Swords, hard-headed, rational, and so on, to the Queen of Cups, right? That mothering energy. So Queen of Cups is kind of Cancerian or maybe Piscean energy, depending on how you want to look at it. It's definitely very water. If it were up to me, I would definitely associate it most closely to the Cancer archetype out of the three water signs, right? I would say Pisces is High Priestess more. Or, well, it depends. Okay, you can also stick Pisces in the Queen of Cups energy a little bit as well. Either way, right, the Queen of Cups is an energy of emotional intelligence, basically. It's about understanding, right? Psychological knowledge, understanding yourself first and foremost, which gives you a source, a type of power, right? Self-knowledge, knowledge in general is a type of power, and self-knowledge even more so, self-awareness even more so. right? So that Temperance with the Queen of Cups is showing that you will feel way more in control of yourself, way more wise, more knowledgeable about your emotions, maybe about your past as well. Like you're going to see things from a new perspective. I think with the Temperance as well, considering that you start out with the King of Swords, you will have that sweet spot of a balance between still maintaining everything you have learned up until this point of being very rational, very tough, you know, having the ability to be cutthroat and also resilient and do things by yourself and through your own efforts. But at the same time, develop more relational abilities and also more compassion, more empathy, more of an understanding ability towards other people, more of an ability to understand other people and to put yourself in other people's shoes, right? And out of this wisdom, really, there will be a higher ability to relate to people and to have healthier relationships down the line. So this is the main thing that I'm seeing here for the month of September. Let me get the astrological notes as well. Hold on. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3, the Onyx group. What will the month of September 2025 bring for them? Oh my God. Wow. Okay. We have 9th house, learning and faith. Mercury, Libra, 4th house, such a strong confirmation of everything I talked about. So here's that Cancer energy, even more confirmation with the moon, okay? Moon is the ruler of Cancer and has to deal with emotions, and it's the mother archetype again. Some of you, I have to say, with all this mother archetype coming out, some of you, of course, might actually be mothers, and you are going to be forced to maybe rethink some things about your attitude maybe to mothering during the month of September. I would say that's not very likely though. I think for most people, this moon showing up, this is about healing some kind of childhood issues, right? Especially connected to the mother or the early life environment, right? Aside from that, we have the 9th house, which is learning and faith. So this is definitely showing that throughout the month of September, you're going to feel drawn to cultivating higher knowledge, maybe traveling. So 9th house is about long distance, long-term travels as well, especially traveling abroad. So you could have some significant journey in the month of September. Aside from that, the 9th house is about pilgrimages as well, religious traveling. So traveling to religious sites, that could be a thing. Another thing with the 9th house is about education, especially higher education, master's degree and above. So this could be a great time for those of you who, let's say, want to start a new study program. Spirit is definitely encouraging it. And the 9th house is also about father's teachings, right? So especially religious mentality teachings coming from the father figure. This is also about gurus, right? Religious teachers and stuff. So these things could come to the forefront. So issues connecting to faith, to higher belief systems, you know, to how you view the world. All of these things could somehow, you know, come to the forefront. So there will be, I don't know, maybe you're going to want to study a new philosophy or maybe study a new religion or something like that, right? Another thing, let me think, with the 9th house is philosophy. So it kind of goes hand in hand with the religion. So again, you might just feel a strong desire to cultivate your mind in general in the month of September, right? Educate yourself, maybe reading more. And pay attention to any books that stand out to you, books or courses or podcasts, anything, right? So any source of education that might show up in the month of September might have a very strong impact on your life. And most likely is something that you are meant to see at that particular time and meant to get into, right? And then we have Mercury, which is about intelligence. It's about analytical thinking. It's also about communication, right? So that goes hand in hand with what I said. I feel like many of you are heading towards learning about healthy relationships, right? So you will have to I feel most of you, you're going to have not just the opportunity, but somehow you're going to be put in situations through circumstances where you're going to have to communicate more. And you're going to have to pay attention to your communication, how clear you are, and how emotionally intelligent, again, you are in order to maintain good relationships with people. So that is coming to the forefront. Analytical thinking, again, business thinking. So Mercury is a planet that is connected to business. So money might also be an issue in the sense that you're going to be focused on managing your finances in the month of September. And then we have Libra, which is connected to partnership, romance, okay? So it's interesting because you also have that card that says be open to romance. So for some of you, you might meet someone significant in the month of September, especially since Libra corresponds to the 7th house, the house of marriage and the spouse. You might also be more partnership based, right, in the month of September. You might, irrespective of whether it's romantic or not, you might really want to speak to people in one-on-one situations, right? This can also refer to any kind of relationship, including getting a therapist, by the way, right? So any kind of situation where you are communicating to someone in a one-to-one basis, that is Libra energy. And it's also about balance, again. So, and it actually shows up in, doesn't it? No, it shows up in the Justice, not this one. In a way, it kind of shows up through symbolism in the Temperance card as well. But it is about balance, right? So it's about seeing the pros and cons and being less invested in just one very specific point of view and only seeing things from your point of view without seeing it from the other person's perspective. So I feel, yes, you are cultivating some perspective, some objectivity here. And the 4th house, again, this is home and family. So issues connected to family, I would say especially family of origin, are going to come to the forefront in September. 4th house, of course, also refers to the actual home. The home. Oh my God! I just realized. Oh my holy mother of. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, in the description for this card, the Rose Moon, you can replay it because I went over it in the beginning. It actually said something about how you can better your space, or how you can improve your space, right? And it also speaks about how to improve your space mentally as well as physically. And it's interesting because in Vedic astrology, the moon actually is the mind, right? So see how this resonates. I wonder if many of you have also had some issues, not necessarily with depression, although that is a possibility, but I'm seeing more in this energy. I'm seeing more OCD, anxiety maybe, yeah, some kind of, I guess, mental health issues that have to deal with being hyper controlling. Maybe even eating disorders. That would make sense again with the moon, because the moon is about nurturing. So I see Spirit telling you basically to seek to better your, I guess, mentality in a way, right? And do so by starting from the outside in, right? Also looking around at your environment and see how you can improve it in such a way as to improve your mental state. Because having a nice, clean environment, decluttered and all that, is also going to improve your mental state. There's actually studies that support this, right? And 4th house, again, is, like I was starting to say, it is about the physical base of the home, right? So not just to take care of your home, but this could also show that maybe you're going to do something significant in your home, like change, I don't know, buy appliances or redecorate, maybe change your home. That could also be happening, especially with the 9th house and the 4th house coming out together. So moving to a different address could be a thing for some of you. And then the moon, feelings and subconscious. This is about, well, kind of like I said, this is about childhood wounds to some extent, but the moon is also about your thought patterns, right? So rethinking the way you think in general, the things you notice and all that, you know, working on having a better attitude or having a more optimistic view of things, that is going to come to the forefront in September 2025. And again, relationship with the mother or mother figure or mothering in general. The moon also, again, going hand in hand with the Queen of Cups, is showing that you are going to be put in circumstances where you will have to develop that nurturing side, right? So more of a mothering energy towards yourself and maybe towards others as well. And moon is not just about nurturing, it's also about imagination. It's about intuition. So all of these things are going to keep growing, and you're going to, again, you're going to be put in situations where most likely you will have to cultivate these qualities. And the moon also, to some extent, in a negative way, is connected to manipulation. But sometimes, you know, manipulation is just a question of survival. No matter the situation, when you develop that moon quality, you will develop an ability to read other people very well. And that can serve you in all kinds of ways, right? Including knowing how to stay away from potentially damaging individuals, in addition to healing yourself and all that. All right, so this is what I see from the cards. Let me get the Astro dice. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What is going to come into their life in the month of September 2025? Oh my God. Oh my God. Seriously. Wow. The moon, again, I lost track of how many moon symbols have come through over here. We have Taurus, and we have the number 7, which is about Libra again. So you did have that card that said be open to romance. I really think that something significant might happen in the month of September. Like, you know, meeting a potential romantic partner. That would make sense with the number 7. 7th house is especially about serious long-term relationships, as opposed to, I don't know, flings or just flirtations or something. So that could happen. But either way, the 7th house, since you have Mercury in communication, see, the 7th house is about, like I said, dealing with people in one-to-one situations, but it can also be about addressing audiences. So depending on your circumstances, this could also be that you might be put in a situation where you have to address an audience. You have to communicate with a large group of people. And this also could be you having to become a negotiator of some sorts, right? Learning to be diplomatic either way. And 7th house is also about partnership-based business. It's one of the houses of business, actually, and it's also one of the houses connected to the career because of the Bhavat Bhavam concept, right? The 10th from the 10th is the 7th house. So the 7th house is seen as kind of like a higher expression of the 10th house, which is career. So career is going to be big for you as well. So there might be something significant. I have seen signs of that happening in other places in the horoscope, like I said initially as well. So career might be significant. There might be some kind of huge leap forward or some opportunity showing up, especially in social status, but also money. But aside from that, right, also you learning to communicate, I feel, in one-to-one situations and being more diplomatic. The moon showing up in Taurus is particularly telling because the moon is actually exalted in Taurus, and the moon is emotions. And you have that Temperance card, and you have that Libra, which is about balance. So the moon in Taurus, the reason it's exalted is because this is the sign where it gains stability, right? So Taurus being a nice, earthy energy, soothing, stable, simple, right? It stabilizes the moon. It gives the moon that anchor that it needs to hold on to keep waxing and waning and jumping up and down and, you know, shifting and changing and all that stuff, right? So I feel for the most part, this is emotional stability, basically. You're going to gain some level of emotional stability. So see how this resonates? Because again, for some of you, like I said, more specifically, you may have actually struggled with mental health. So this is definitely a sign that it's going to get better by the end of the month. And irrespective of whether you've had some significant mental health challenges or not, your overall mood, your state of mind is going to improve by the end of the month, and you're going to see things more clearly. And you're going to feel more calm and confident, and it's going to be easier to make decisions. For some reason, I'm getting that song in my mind. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. It's going to be a bright, something like bright sunshiny day. Anyway, something like that. This is the vibe that I'm getting for you by the end of September. So mostly very positive, okay? Mostly very positive. But I see, I see multiple things happening, like I said. So I see potential for romance. I do see potential for career growth in something that you have already worked on, most likely. And aside from that, I think the main win of the month of September for you is your mental health and your mental stability. And you learning self-care. This is the main thing that I see, really. It just cracks me up because it says adolescent, right? Yeah, you have to take care of the inner Peter Pan of you, right? That doesn't, that has gone rogue and doesn't know what's good for him, maybe to some extent. Anyway, this is the general, these are the general things that I see. And one other thing that I want to mention, 9th house, 4th house. So physically, 9th house is the legs, especially the calves, right? Thighs and calves. 4th house is the chest and the stomach. So watch out for any potential physical ailments connected to these areas. If you have any pains in these areas or anything like that, don't neglect them. Go to a doctor, right? 4th house can also speak of, so chest things can be the heart to some extent, although not that strongly, because 5th house is more about the heart and the cardiovascular system. 4th house is more about the breast area for women, so be careful with that. Again, if you are due for a checkup, do the checkup. And the stomach, again, very strongly connected, so watch out for indigestion, any kind of stomach problems, stress affecting your digestive system, etc., right? So these things might really flare up during this time. 4th house also has to deal with modes of transportation, so see how this resonates. Again, I would not be able to say whether this would be positive or negative. The 4th house coming up can just show that these issues are going to come to the forefront somehow, either positively or negatively in the month of September, right? It could be that maybe you're going to have to spend some money to fix your car, or it could be that you might actually be looking to change your car, or maybe you have been looking to get a new car for a long time and now you're going to see a good deal and actually get it. So that's one example. But 4th house is about all modes of transportation. And yeah, it's also about real estate of any kind, really. And yeah, this is pretty much it. Also can be 4th house connected to the chest. It can also be blood pressure issues. Yeah, I have seen that connected to blood pressure issues. So again, watch out if this is something that you have a vulnerability towards. Okay, so this has been pretty much what I could see for you, pile number 3. I hope you have enjoyed it. I definitely have. A lot of very strong, coherent messages over here in the cards. And if you have, don't forget to like the video. As usual, click on the notifications bell if you want to be notified. I'm sorry, subscribe first and then click on the notifications bell to see when I will upload a new tarot reading. Also, feel free to comment in the comment section, of course, with any feedback that you would like to share, positive or negative. As long as you keep it polite, I would appreciate it. And I'm sure that it would help other people in the comment section as well. And if you're interested in getting a private tarot reading from me, check out the video description. I will leave my email address there so you can email me for a pricing list and reading options and other details. I've also left a link in the video description that leads to a blog post with reviews I have gotten for private readings before. In case you're curious and you want to check them out, might help you decide if you want to get a reading from me. And if you would like to support my channel further, you can do so by clicking on the join button under any of my videos and contribute monthly through a small fee. And maybe also leave a tip if you want to. And of course, one easy way to support me would be to share this video with as many people as you can. And last but not least, I have an astrology channel that I will be linking in the video description as well. I have started that channel a long time ago in 2016, a lot longer than this one. And I have focused mainly on Vedic astrology there, and by the way, I'm reading horoscopes for more than 20 years now, for more than 10 in Vedic astrology, and I mostly focus on Vedic astrology on my channel as well, but I use some insights from other systems as well, like tropical, Batsa, Ziwei Doshu, which are Chinese astrology systems, also the Mayan zodiac, and numerology to some extent. I have yet to actually make specific videos about any of these other systems, but I use my insights from them on a regular basis. Either way, if you're curious about astrology, go ahead and check out my astrology channel and maybe subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you in my next tarot video. Bye!